And hello and welcome to the JESS STROM Show for the first one of the 2016 season. I'm your host, Gary Smith, and today we're got an exciting show planned, a half hour with Coach Jess Strom. And Coach, first of all, I'm glad you made it across campus. I know it's been treacherous walking last couple of days with the snow. It seems like every year, either the first show or the second show, we have a blizzard.
Yeah, that's all right. We make it over every time, so we're good.
And it's a great time of year because, we're in January. You've played your entire first round of PSAC West games. But before we talk about, what's coming up in the last couple of weeks, let's just take a few minutes to talk about how we got from August pretty much. Because basketball seems, I'm sure you know, it goes from fall and spring semester, but from the beginning of the season to now.
Yeah, I can't believe it's the end of January already. I mean, I feel like we just got on campus. But, obviously I think we had a great preseason. We had some injuries. We had two of our seniors go down, which I think hurt us just, leadership-wise. So we have a lot of inexperienced players coming into this season. We have Mickey returning and Sierra, but I think no one else played over 10 minutes last year. So, it's been up and down. We've been inconsistent, but I think we kind of expected that, coming into the season with young, inexperienced players. But, they work hard, so you can't really ask for much more than that.
And coming into the season, I'm sure it's been tough, too, because as the defending national champion, you're getting everyone's best shot every night. What was that like? Because I know now that we're in the middle of the season, I'm sure that, everyone's realized it's a new year. But what was that like at the beginning of the year? Because like I said, I mean, it seemed like the first couple write-ups, the first line is so-and-so played the defending national champions.
Yeah, every time someone beats us, it still says, defending national champs, whatever it is. But, you'd rather have that than never experience it at all. So I think it's a good thing. But we realize it's not the same team. We lost 3 huge players from that team, and you got to rebuild a little bit. And I think at 12-5 right now for the group that we have with the experience that we have, we'll just keep getting better and can build on that.
And coming into the season, the NCAA decided to change up some rules. How has that adjustment been? Because I know from us on a broadcast side, the 4 quarters and where the media timeouts are and the way that they do the bonus situation is wreaking havoc for us just watching an announcing game. How's the adjustment been from a coaching standpoint and a team standpoint?
Yeah, I don't particularly like the bonus, the 2 shots. But that might just be because we foul a ton. So I don't know. But I don't really, I like the one-on-one. I like the game played that way because you have to make that first one to get the second one. So I'm not a huge fan of that. The quarters doesn't really make that big of a difference, I don't think. The timeouts, I think, we're really seeing the effects of the different timeouts. You don't get as many breaks. So, your kids have to play through fatigue a little bit more. You got to save your timeouts a little bit. I never really called many anyways, but you have to kind of be smart with them.
I was going to say, I think you called one either against Mercy or Edinburgh, and I about lost because I'm like, she never calls timeout. What's going on down there?
Well, especially this year, I need to save them. We need them in the last minute of games. I got to save them.
And the other rule change, too, I believe it's just at the end of the second half when the ball could move after a timeout up to the timeline when a lot of games coming down to the final minute. Is that a change that you guys like, or is that something that it doesn't really make a difference?
I think coming into the season, I didn't really think it was going to make a huge difference, but now I like it because we've needed it. If you're down to 4 seconds in a game, that's a big difference from taking it the length of the floor or, half court. So I think it's huge, especially we've had so many close games that it's been, and it's been the other way too for our teams we play. They've got to advance the ball and got some good looks. We lost at East Stroudsburg, and they could advance the ball and get a last-second shot off. So it goes both ways, I guess.
And you mentioned East Stroudsburg. Let's touch a little bit about the non-PSAC West part of the season. Once again, the PSAC, both East and West count your conference play, which I thought had changed because I know it changed in football, and I didn't read an email, so I was doing the graphics. I'm like, what is this? 19 games, it seems like. But how's the East compared to the West this year?
I think everybody is pretty even. You go into a game and we beat Westchester, who's pretty good, on the East, and then we lose to East Stroudsburg. So, and other teams are doing the same thing. So I think the PSAC as a whole is pretty even this year. You can lose to anybody or beat anybody, which we've done. We've done both. So, no, I think it's pretty even East and West this year.
And done it both in exciting fashion. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, we're at the turnaround part of the PSAC West schedule. Let's just backtrack a little bit since, the UPJ game was, when I was looking at the graphics, that was I think that was your second or third game of the year. So that PSAC West schedule basically started in November, and now we're 2.5 months in.
Yeah, I think it was our third game of the year, and that one came down to a last-second shot. Mickey luckily hit it for us. It's crazy because you play, some early West games, and then you go into crossover games, and then you come back to some West games, and it's just. But with them all counting, it really doesn't matter. You got to show up every day. Each game is really, really important, and they're important anyways for regionals. So, you try to come into each game with the same focus.
And those rankings should be coming out in another week or two. It seems like they wait later and later each and every year to make us know what's going on. But another thing is too, now that we're in the end of January, people are back on campus. I'm sure, everywhere across the PSAC, everyone's happy because, for the past 6 weeks basically, it's been empty gyms because there's been no one on any of the campuses.
Yeah, and that's every year we see that happen. So you kind of just got to get yourself excited to play. Coming into it, there's not going to be many fans, especially all of January. So, I think the kids expect it, and you kind of just have to look, for the end of your season to take those games one game at a time. And
now that we've kind of touched upon everything from the middle of September on to now, let's talk about more recent games. Well, the last two games last week, away game at Edinburgh on Wednesday. It was kind of a messy travel day up to Edinburgh, and on the way back it was kind of messy, but that's always a tough place to play.
It is. I think we forgot to get off the bus. It wasn't our best effort, but you have those days. Like I said, you have young kids and kids that haven't been there before really, game situation-wise, and we were close, and then there's a quarter they take the lead, and we have a hard time sometimes fighting back right now. I think that's what we're trying to work on when things aren't going our way, trying to come back from that. But yeah, it was not pretty, to say the least. But, it was a 4-point game, I think, in the fourth quarter. So we were right there. We had our chances. But, Edinburgh's a good team. They're, I think, fourth right now in the West, one game behind us and Gannon. So it's not a bad team, and it is difficult to play there, So you take it on the chin, I guess. We'll get them again.
And we have some highlights from Wednesday's game up at Edinburgh. And it always seems like it's a good rivalry, too, because it seemed like for years Cal beat Edinburgh for a long stretch of games, and then it seemed Edinburgh had a long winning streak until a tournament win, and then it seemed last year you guys handled them pretty good up there. But what is it different about playing up there than it is anywhere else? Because it does seem to be a unique gym.
Yeah, I think they feel very comfortable at home. I think it's a long bus ride. We typically, if it's a Saturday, we stay overnight. If it's a Wednesday, we don't. So it's a long ride. We leave early, but that's really no excuse. You still got to play. There you go. You found a defensive
I told you there were some
right
highlights
there.
in this game. There were some, and the game started off very well. I mean, the first quarter, you guys came out firing. It's just like you said, that second quarter was just something that like what, stuck in the snow.
Yeah, I think we typically see this. We go through spurts where we can't really score, and that's why we always preach we need to play defense. We need to be a defensive team because in those times we aren't scoring, we have to be able to play and get stops. And I think we're just kind of realizing that as a team. We need to get better at that.
That's something your team's always been noted for is defense. You can put in any highlights from the last 3 years, you're going to see 4 or 5 sequences where the defense is leading to offense.
Right, and you see a lot of these highlights. You see Mickey, she's been really good for us this year. Coming in, I think everyone that we play is trying to key on Mickey, and she's still putting up great numbers. She's much more of a leader this year, and, she's just doing great for us on both ends.
Well, the thing it seems like in the few games that I've been able to see this year, her transition from her first years, it seemed like she always wanted to drive and then dish, but she's really stepped up her jump shot, mid-range jump shot, and also three-point shot.
Yeah, she has, and she really has no choice. She needs to score for us. We lost, I think, 40 points coming into the season, so we have to find them somewhere, and she's capable. She's worked on this, like you see right there. That's her game. She's worked on that a ton over the summer. Not always getting to the rim, but she's still drawing. I think the last stat was she's made 30 more free throws than anyone else in the PSAC has even taken.
I can believe it.
And I still think she doesn't get as many calls as she should.
Well, I know in this game, particularly Wednesday, it seemed like there was a couple of times she was getting hammered and the whistles were staying in the pocket. You see at the end it was 73-54. There's a good chance that's the men's score because I was reading 2 things at the whenever I was doing graphics, but I think it was correct.
That was it.
My computer used to have 2 screens, now it has 1, so I was trying to do the graphics and also read them off my tablet. So I'm always good for 1 or 2 mistakes. I'm glad we got.
I wish
the score was different, but I'm glad I got the graphic right. But we can put that game in the rearview mirror. You know, it's always a tough place to play up there. And a quick turnaround, as always, Wednesday to Saturday. And this week, of course, in case you've been living in a cave, there was a huge snowstorm. Didn't know what was going on. Seemed like every other game in the PSAC was canceled, but Mercier's came down the day before, and it was tough sledding getting to the gym. But you guys played in a heck of a game, another close one, but a good tough win against a tough Mercier's team.
I don't think we've played a game that wasn't close. But yeah, Mercier's is much better than their record shows. They're tough. They're a lot of juniors on that team that have played since their freshman year. They're a good team. So it came down to the end, and I think maybe we're getting better in game situations, end of game situations. We're learning a little bit. But they're tough, and it's going to be tough to go back up there, the end of the season too.
And it seems like that's a team that ever since they joined the conference a few years ago, I think our record against them is pretty good, but they've all been, except for maybe 1 or 2 games, but they've all been nail biters up there or down here.
And if you see their schedule too and their results, they're close with everybody. They beat Ship, who is first in the East. They're right there in a lot of games. They lost again before us by 3. That's it.
Ooh.
So they're right there in every game.
Let's take a look at some highlights from Saturday. Trust me, it was a lot nicer looking inside than it was outside. But once again, in these highlights, you're going to see a lot of driving and some offense off of defense.
I hope we see it.
It's there, trust me.
You see Paige making some shots there. She's been struggling a little bit to hit, but this game she did. She hit a couple.
She had a big first quarter. I think she had 6 or 7 points just in the first quarter alone.
She did, and then there's Mickey making shots. I don't think anyone else can really make those shots.
Yeah, and she had, I believe, a career high on Saturday in points. I think it was 36 points, and probably could have been a few more. She had a couple that just didn't go down.
Yeah, I think this is probably. I don't know if it's the best I've seen. She played pretty well at the end of the season last year too, but I think she just controlled. She pretty much took over that game.
As you can see, the score. I mean, all these highlights. I mean, it was about a 5 to 7 point game the entire game. So every possession. And it seems like this time of year, every possession is so important.
It's been all year. There you see one of our freshmen. I think she's getting a little bit more comfortable, with her minutes and what we do. So, like I said, it's young kids. There's Shatera right there. Who didn't play a ton. So I think this time of year is when they get used to what they're doing. They kind of know their roles a little bit. And hopefully we just, this is the time of year you want to start clicking.
I believe she's averaging a double-double, Shatera, into this point of the season. I know she was a couple weeks ago. I'm not sure if she still is, but that's big.
It's really hard for, I think, other teams when we have Shatera and Sierra on the court at the same time because they're so athletic and long. You can box one out, but it's really hard to do both. They both can run. They both can play defense. So, I think once we get it and all 5 on the court, are playing together as one, it's going to be pretty dangerous.
I know there was a move a couple weeks ago. I think it was in the, what game was it? I think it was the Seton Hill game or maybe the next game where Precious made a drop step and just went by the person. And I'm like, how is that on a travel? And it was just that athletic of a move.
Yeah, you add pressure to that too, and it's even more difficult to guard, I think, when we're, in our spots and playing how we're supposed to play, and then rebound too. That was a huge shot by Morgan too, another freshman, who is just figuring things out.
Yeah, that was a point where Mercier was starting to surge up a little bit. That stopped their run cold and then set up the end of the game right here. I believe the next highlight should be the Sierra Barrett inbounds play right here where she ends the game.
Yeah, I don't know how she made that, but thank goodness she did.
And that was another win at the buzzer for California. As you said, the UPJ game came down to the buzzer. I believe the Westchester game was a game that went to overtime. So
yeah, Mickey hit that 3 to go into overtime. East Stroudsburg, we lost at the buzzer. Seton Hill,
that was a buzzer
they took
beater
us to overtime. Yeah.
So nothing easy
Gannon
in the PSAC.
was also very close. We had to come back in the 4th quarter.
But that's how the games are in the PSAC. Every game, every week's going to be a different thing. And this week coming up, 2 big games. This Wednesday night, of course. Tomorrow night, we shoot this on Tuesday. IUP, a game, a tough loss, but it was a game that played well for 3 quarters. So that the one, I think it was the 3rd quarter, just didn't make the shots. So coming into that game, what do you think? What are you looking for?
I think we just have to get a defensive attitude about us. You know, I think we like to score points. I think we need to buy in more that we need to play defense consistently. You know, we do it when we want to do it. I know we can do it, and we know what we're doing, but it's just giving that effort for 40 minutes. You know, we give it for about 30, and then there's always that one quarter where we slip a little bit. So I think just getting consistent effort on the defensive end. You know, it's tough. It's kind of maturity too, learning that you're really not that tired. You know, you got to push through that. But I think we're getting better at it. I think we've had two really good practices this week. So, and you know, we don't really enjoy IUP, you know, and they beat us already. So I think it's kind of a redemption a little bit.
And we didn't have to use our censor button there whenever you're talking about IUP. But what kind of things does IUP do for people that haven't seen IUP yet this year?
You know, they shoot the ball. They're a typical IUP team. They run a ton of screens. They want to shoot the three. That's what they do. They move the ball very well. You know, they're fundamental. They can shoot, they can catch, they can pass. You know, they run their stuff. So we kind of just want to disrupt that.
And hopefully there'll be a big crowd. If you haven't seen all the social media or the posters, this game will be a national broadcast on ESPN3, the platform. Log on to ESPN3. The game will be at 5:30 live. So check that out. Be very excited. Hopefully the gym will be packed. It's a red out. And you know, this is a situation where when we played them up there were no students. It was probably one of the smallest crowds I've ever seen at IP just because of the time of year. So it'd be nice to have, you know, that nice, you know, sixth person off the bench, as you will, the crowd behind the team.
Yeah, I think it's huge. You know, we want fans to come out. We want students to come out, you know, for the game, but also just to show Cal U because it's going to be on national TV. So, you know, to represent well for our university.
And probably the good thing is, too, it's kind of old hat for you guys after going to the national championship last year. Since, you know, IEP hasn't been on national TV in a while, so.
Seems so long ago.
And after the game Wednesday, like I said, no rest for the weary. Saturday, go up to Tippin Gymnasium, Clarion, and that's a team that, you know, I don't think they've won here since 1996 or 7 or 8, but I know up there it seems like it's a different world up there.
Yeah, that's another tough gym to play in. You know, it's one of those long rides, and you get there, and it's just, you know, their record is not great, but they always give us a game there. Always. You know, again, it's a team that from bottom to top in the PSAC, it's one of those scary teams because they can knock anyone off at any time. You know, they're athletic. If they're having an on shooting night, they're scary.
And this will be the second time, of course, you play. As we mentioned, we've already gone through the wraparound part of the schedule. Let's take a look at the PSAC West standings, and we'll look at the East just to get a feel for what's going on across the state of Pennsylvania. Since there's about 29 teams, it seems like, in the PSAC anymore. Here are the West standings. California a game behind IUP, and hopefully after this Wednesday it'll be a tie, and hopefully after Saturday it'll at least be continue to be a tie or a game ahead.
Yeah, it's a big Wednesday because Gannon also plays Edinburgh. So those top four, there's going to be some change some way.
And are there any surprises right to this point of the season that you see? Obviously, I think everyone thought we were going to be their IUP and Gannon, but
yeah, those are the typical top four. You know, I think the coaches, at least when we voted, we put Slippery Rock, you know, 5th or 6th. They have some Division I transfers. They're a pretty good team. And then again, Slippery Rock, Mercyhurst, Clarion, all 7-7. Like I said, anyone on any day can win. So no, I'm not really surprised. You know, I knew it was going to be pretty close. Even the top right there, everybody's just one game out.
And there's only 3 teams that are sub 500 records: Mercyhurst, UPJ, and Clarion, and not by much. I mean, Mercyhurst is 2 games under 500, and Clarion and UPJ are 6 games under, but that's, you know, as you said, that's not really indicative of their record. Now let's look over to the PSAC East. And Shippensburg having a great season after a couple not subpar, but just not as
yeah, they're
good as
actually really good this year. You know, they had that loss at Mercyhurst, but other than that, they've been pretty good. Westchester's coming in. I expected Westchester to be pretty good. They didn't really lose anybody from last year's team. Bloom's always good. East Stroudsburg's up there, which I actually like that they're up there because that means that's better for us since we lost to them. But Millers wasn't one of those teams, too, that I said when we played them, they're better than their record also. You know, so really no surprises. I think those are the top. Coming in, we thought those were the top 3 teams out east, too.
And once again, in case you've not been paying attention for the last 2 or 3 years, 6 teams make the PSAC playoffs. Top 2 teams get a bye on that Saturday. And then you play that Tuesday, and then the traditional either Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday. I'm not sure what the days are this week. So that's important to try and get that 1 or 2 spot for that bye, just for health.
Yeah, it really is. And this year, it's in the West. So it's really important. You know, we want to go for that first seed and try to host. But that's a long way away.
That's a couple weeks away.
Yeah, we have to just, especially with this group, we got to take it one game at a time and just focus on, okay, we have IUP. What can we do today, tomorrow to get prepared for IUP?
It's funny. I mean, we joke about that, but it goes so fast. I mean, it seems, I know you know it's a long season, but you figure we're back in the semester. There's really only about 4.5 weeks left before we're looking at that first round of playoffs.
Yeah, it's crazy. When you come back in January, when it starts that Wednesday, Saturday, it flies. You get set on a schedule. You know, you have your Monday, Tuesday game, Thursday, Friday game off, and then it flies.
Well, let's take a look at the upcoming schedule just to see what's coming up in the next 2 weeks. I think we have the next 5 games on there, of course. Tomorrow night, Wednesday, January 27th, IUP 5:30. Come out, wear red, be loud, cheer on the Vulcans to victory. And then, Saturday at Clarion, like to see a lot of red and black in the crowd there. And then UPJ returns to California next Wednesday. And then next Saturday, Davis and Elkins, a 2 o'clock game, a non-conference game. And then at Slippery Rock. And Davis and Elkins was the game I know last year you guys played on Valentine's Day. And the only reason I know that is there was a huge storm and my shed blew over, and I was pushing my lawnmower to my parents' house in the middle of the blizzard, wishing I was in Davis, West Virginia,
you weren't,
or
'cause we
Elkins,
got
wherever it
stuck
is.
We got stuck there. It was a long trip home. But yeah, they come to us, so it's good this year.
Do you like having that non-conference, non-division game in the middle of your season? I know that's just where the bye or the PSAC bye is.
I'd rather play than not play. Mm-hmm. You get in a routine, and I'd rather not have a whole week of practice. We get kind of bored with practice sometimes. So I think it's good just to stay in your routine. D&E's always a decent team, so it's more of kind of trying to keep us on track, rather than who we're playing.
And also, too, it's another chance to play a team out of conference. Since it seems like how many games? 28 of the 30 games. It seems like our PSAC games just with the crossover. So it's probably got to help if you get a win over a team from another conference.
Yeah, it's good, and all these out of conference games are also regional games for us. So, they're all important. That's just as important to us, as these PSAC games.
Yeah, that's what I always like to try and tell my friends when they're asking what's going on or what's the ranking. Like, it doesn't matter what the national ranking is. It matters what the regional ranking is.
Yeah.
Got to take care of business in your backyard before you can even look to
Yeah,
beyond that.
And good luck to whoever's on the regional committee, because it is not going to be easy this year.
No, I was looking. There's a lot of teams that are bunched together.
Yeah, IUP has 4 losses. We have 5. Gannon has 6, I think. Like, there's teams that have a lot of losses. West Lib, Wheeling Jesuit and the Mountain East don't have a ton. I think 2 and 2 maybe. But in our conference, good luck.
And now that we're in the turnaround part of the schedule, there's a chance to, take care of some of those teams that only have a few losses. So That's why I was like this time of year, because every game's so important and it goes fast and it's intense, and it's great if you're a basketball fan.
Yeah, it's huge. Every game is really important this time of year, so it should be fun.
Well, make sure you come out tomorrow night, Wednesday, Cal IUP, and then jump in the car. I promise there's not going to be any snow this weekend. Drive up to Clarion. It's a nice drive. There's a Five Guys restaurant. You can come eat with the crew on the way up, because that's tradition. We go up to Clarion now. But also keep track of Cal Vulcan Athletics on calvulcans.com, and also the PSAC Sports page at psacsports.org. For Coach Jess Strom, I'm Gary Smith. You've been watching the Jess Strom Show right here on CUTV.